15 mind-blowing facts about Bulgaria, the most unique country on Earth travel documentary. Number 1. The name that never changed. Let me ask you something. Why is it that every time someone says Europe, all you picture is Paris, pizza, and some pompous guy in a scarf whispering existentialism over wine? You know what never comes up? Bulgaria. Yeah, Bulgaria. The country that's been standing since freaking 681 AD. Do the math. That's older than your grandma's grudge against your aunt. And guess what? It never changed its name. Not once. You think that's not impressive? Name one friend who didn't switch their Instagram handle at least 3 times last year, trying to reinvent themselves. But Bulgaria? It's been Bulgaria. Through the Ottoman Empire, the Soviet crush, 2 world wars, breakups, glow-ups, and global shake-ups, Bulgaria said, "Nah, we're good." Meanwhile, other countries out here changing names like they're switching Spotify playlists. Czechia. North Macedonia. Eswatini. Sounds like a startup company trying to sell you vegan soap. But not Bulgaria. That's not just consistency. That's spine. That's identity. That's I don't give a damn what the neighbors are doing. I know who I am energy. Bulgaria is that old man who's been wearing the same leather jacket since the 70s and still gets compliments from women half his age. That's alpha. And don't even try to call it small. Yeah, it's roughly the size of Ohio. But let me be real with you, have you been to Ohio? No offense, but Bulgaria has mountains, beaches, Roman ruins, yogurt that literally heals your soul, and the world's smartest woman. Not a smart woman. The smartest woman. IQ score of 200. From where? Bulgaria. Meanwhile, some of you out here still clapping when the airplane lands. Be honest. And Mensa ranks Bulgaria second in global IQ scores. Second. So while other countries are bragging about having the world's tallest building or the most TikTok influencers with lip filler, Bulgaria's over here, quietly building brainpower like it's mining gold. You know what this country is? Underestimated. And I blame us. We don't talk about it. We don't teach it. Instead, we obsess over tourist traps, pop stars, and whatever country just hosted the Eurovision circus. Meanwhile, Bulgaria's been out here carrying history, intellect, resilience, and not asking for applause. It's like that one kid in school who aced every test but never reminded you. You forgot about him, until he bought a Lumbo at 30. So here's my point, you're sleeping on Bulgaria. And you know it. Start learning about it. Start respecting it. Start saying its name the way it deserves to be said. With a little reverence. A little edge. A little damn, that country's been through hell and still walks with its chest out. Because while the world was busy changing its outfit, Bulgaria stayed royal. Now tell me this, what other country has kept its name for nearly 1,400 years and still doesn't act like a diva about it? Yeah, I'll wait. Drop your answer in the comments, or admit you're just now realizing you knew nothing about this Balkan beast. And if this opened your eyes even an inch, hit like, and I'll show you more countries you've been criminally sleeping on. Next one. It'll punch even harder. Number 2. The culture shock you didn't see coming. Alright, let's get something straight. You think you're cultured because you tried sushi once and watched Emily in Paris without subtitles? Sit down. Bulgaria's about to slap your brain sideways. You know how you've been taught your whole life that nodding means yes? Wrong. Try that in Bulgaria and you just accidentally declined a marriage proposal. I'm serious, in Bulgaria, nodding means no, and shaking your head means yes. It's not a joke. It's not a prank. It's cultural truth. And it's the ultimate test of whether you actually pay attention or just walk through life like a GPS voice on autopilot. Imagine being on a first date in Sofia. The waiter asks if you want wine. You nod. Boom. No wine. You shake your head. Double pour, baby. Red and white. Hope you're not driving. It's not weird, it's different. It's rich. It's got layers. But you just called it confusing because it doesn't match your American bubble. Let's go deeper. Before a big event, like an exam or a wedding, Bulgarians pour water outside the door. Not because they're spilling it like clumsy toddlers, it's a tradition. A symbolic gesture to wish someone smooth sailing. Meanwhile, your idea of wishing good luck is texting good luck and sending a clown emoji. Bravo. They do it in silence. It's not a post. It's not for likes. It's spiritual, subtle, and beautiful. But you won't hear about it on TikTok. Because it doesn't trend, it just matters. Now here comes the part that'll really shake your over-sanitized Western soul. Bulgarians celebrate the dead differently. They pin their loved ones' photos to trees, to walls, to poles, not to be creepy, but to remember. They gather around graves, not to weep in silence, but to share meals. Yes. They eat with the dead. Because to them, that connection doesn't break with death. You don't move on. You hold on, with food, with laughter, with memory. And you call that morbid. Spare me. You ghost your aunt after one political argument and claim boundaries. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Bulgaria isn't trying to impress you. It doesn't need to. It's not Disneyland with prettier signs. It's raw, real, and ancient. And if you're too soft to handle that, maybe stay on your cruise ship and sip your overpriced mojito. Culture shock? No. It's a wake-up call. You're the one who's out of sync, not them. They've been doing this for centuries, while you just figured out how to cook rice without burning it. So go ahead, nod your head. But remember, you just said no. And if you shook your head while reading this, congratulations. You finally said yes to something that challenged you. Now tell me in the comments, what tradition from your country would confuse the hell out of a Bulgarian? Let's get awkward together. And don't forget to subscribe. Next episode's going to punch you even harder. Because the world's bigger than your comfort zone. And Bulgaria? It doesn't care if you're ready. It never asked. Number 3. Women who run the country. You ever notice how the strongest women always seem to be single, and the most emotionally unavailable men are somehow always in a relationship? Weird, right? Let's not lie to ourselves. You've scrolled past 1,000 soft girl profiles hoping she'll heal your inner chaos with herbal tea and good lighting. Meanwhile, the real powerhouses, the ones building empires before lunch, get ghosted because they dared to send a text without an emoji. Now sit with this. In Bulgaria, nearly 46% of managerial roles are held by women. That's not a cute stat, that's a mic drop. They're not just running homes. They're running companies, cities, entire industries. While you're still trying to convince yourself that your gym routine counts as a personality trait. And here's what stings. 37% of them are single. Not because they're too much, because most men are still not enough. Let's call it what it is. You want a queen but can't handle the crown. You're out here confusing confidence for arrogance because she didn't swoon over your Spotify playlist. Here's the part that nobody tells you, but you know it's true. The women who scare you the most are the ones who would save you from your own mediocrity, if you didn't try to shrink them first. Bulgarian women are not here to complete you, they're whole already. They're the final form of what hustle culture pretends to be, high-functioning, zero drama, focused, and not here to play therapist for your boyhood wounds you've disguised as trust issues. They're like carry-on luggage on a budget flight, compact, powerful, efficient, and if you can't handle that weight, you don't get to board. And still, they're open. Open to love that crosses borders. Not because they need rescuing, but because they know real connection is rare, and it's got nothing to do with geography. But here's the catch, they're not looking for potential. They're looking for proof. So if your idea of depth is a gym selfie and good vibes only, kindly move along. These women didn't break ceilings so you could waste their time sending you up at 2 a.m. They want conversations that sting a little. Honesty that hits harder than flattery. You want in? Start by being interesting, then be consistent. Because every guy thinks he's the exception, until he meets the rule. So here's your first test. Drop a 3 in the comments if you're not afraid of a woman with more vision than your last 5 bosses combined. No pickup lines. No flexing. Just 3. She'll know what it means. You're either real, or you're not. Number 4. A bride market in the age of Tinder? You ever scroll through dating apps and think, wow, love is dead, and common sense died with it? Left swipe. Gym selfie. Left swipe. Holding a fish. Left swipe. Quoting Jordan Peterson like it's foreplay. Now imagine skipping all that mess and just putting your daughter on display in heels and sequins while strangers haggle over her future like she's a used car with low mileage. Welcome to the bride market of Stara Zagora, Bulgaria. Yes, it still exists. Not in the 1800s. Not in a history textbook. Now, in 2025. Here's your punch-in-the-gut stat. Girls aged 15 to 20. Virgins only. Price tag? Anywhere from $2,800 to $5,600. A little more if she's exceptionally beautiful. Like we're auctioning off concert tickets, not people. Now breathe that in. Feel that unease crawling up your spine? Good. That's your moral compass rebooting. But wait, it gets trickier. Locals? They don't see it as exploitation. They call it tradition. A cultural safeguard. A way to preserve identity, values, and yes, purity. Critics? They call it what it smells like, archaic, problematic, and unsettlingly close to human trafficking with better branding. Here's the uncomfortable truth. We cringe because it sounds insane, but we ignore the fact that we do the same thing. Just with better filters. Swipe culture is just capitalism in a dress. Everyone's selling something, their body, their vibe, their future potential as a co-parent in a Pinterest life. Bride markets are blunt instruments. Tinder is a velvet glove on the same hand. You laugh, but don't look too hard in the mirror. We price people by how high value they seem. We invest in someone who might appreciate. We ghost when ROI drops. We don't arrange marriages, we just arrange vibes, energy, and trauma compatibility. So is the Roma bride market barbaric, or just honest? Because unlike most of us, they're not pretending it's about love. It's about alliance, class, culture, stability. Say what you will, but at least they're not hiding behind romanticized nonsense. Still think it's black and white? Ask yourself this: is it worse to put a price tag on a virgin in public? Or to pretend your own dating choices aren't driven by ego, algorithms, and who looks best in vacation photos? Don't answer. Just sit in it. And here's a little curiosity loop to fry your brain on the way out. You ever wonder why the same society that sells wedding dresses to toddlers freaks out when arranged marriages are mentioned? We glamorize brides from birth, but shame cultures that formalize it. So yeah, a bride market in 2025 sounds wild. But maybe the wildest part is realizing we're not that different. We just pretend we are, because denial's cheaper than a dowry. Now tell me, would you rather be chosen in public with your family negotiating, or ghosted by someone who once sent you good morning texts with heart emojis? Drop a 4 if you're brave enough to admit you don't know the answer anymore. Number 5. The Kingdom of Roses. You want to know why your $8 body spray smells like heartbreak and poor decisions? Because real rose oil, the kind used in perfumes like Chanel No. 5, isn't for people who pronounce Target without the French accent. Bulgaria produces over 70% of the world's rose oil. Let that sink in while you sniff the knockoff perfume that gave you a migraine in high school. This isn't rose-scented. This is rose blood, rose sweat, rose currency. And it takes 4 freaking tons of hand-picked petals. Yes, hand-picked, not vacuumed up by corporate greedbots, just to make 1 liter of the stuff. 1 liter. That's smaller than your gym water bottle and worth more than your rent, $11,000. Let me say it again, $11,000. Full flower juice. Meanwhile, you're out here spraying Axe and calling it charisma. You know what that means? That means every time you pass by someone wearing real rose oil, your entire self-esteem collapses. Not because they smell good, but because they smell expensive. It's not floral. It's financial dominance. And where does this floral empire get worshipped? Not Paris. Not Milan. But in a town most of you can't pronounce, Kazanlak, Bulgaria. Every summer, they don't just celebrate roses, they worship them. There are parades, folk dances, rose queens, even distillation contests. Yeah, that's right. In Bulgaria, people get trophies for boiling petals. Meanwhile, your biggest accomplishment this summer was finishing a Netflix series and losing a sock in the laundry. You want to talk about self-care? Let's talk 700 natural hot springs. That's not a flex, that's a full-body therapy session from the earth itself. Bulgaria has more of these healing springs than anywhere else in Europe. You're out here spending $300 on spa days with cucumber water, while Bulgarians are soaking in ancient volcanic mineral magic like it's a Tuesday. And you ever notice how people rave about wellness in Iceland or Switzerland like it's some elite-level secret? Nah. You just haven't looked east, because the travel blogs you follow are too busy pushing overpriced Bali yoga retreats and healing cacao ceremonies that taste like sadness. Let's call it what it is. You want peace, healing, and to smell like wealth, but you're too lazy to Google past page 1. Bulgaria's been sitting on the throne of roses and thermal heaven while the world scrolls past it looking for influencer discounts. So here's a question you won't answer. Why are you still booking trips to overcrowded beaches and overhyped brunch spots when there's a whole country out there that literally smells like success and has more hot springs than your influencer X as red flags? You don't need a vision board. You need a plane ticket and a clue. Drop a 5 in the comments if you're ready to trade your vanilla body mist and fake relaxation for actual luxury, grown from dirt, steam, and unapologetic Bulgarian pride. And if you're not, enjoy smelling like a scented eraser. Number 6. Mystical destinations. Let's be honest, most of you don't travel. You escape. You run off to take selfies in front of landmarks you don't understand and call it spiritual growth. You've been to Tulum, you've meditated for 6 minutes, and now you think you've found yourself? Please. You couldn't find your soul in a lost and found bin with a flashlight and a map. But let's talk about a place that actually makes your jaw drop for the right reasons. It's not on your top 10 TikTok spots list. It's Bulgaria. Start with Rila Monastery, a fortress of faith carved into the mountains like it was designed by God's architect during a midlife crisis. This isn't your average stone church with a gift shop and a bored tour guide. This place houses over 9,000 publications and 250 ancient manuscripts. Real history. Real art. Real sacred vibes. Not some wallpaper aesthetic you slap on your phone background after one chai latte. You walk through those halls, and it feels like the walls are judging you for not reading enough. And they should. You haven't opened a book since your college syllabus, but you sure know how to write a passive-aggressive caption about healing energy. Then you've got Tsarevet's fortress. No, it's not just another pile of rocks with a plaque. This was the seat of kings, a place where crowns were worn, swords were drawn, and history bled. Meanwhile, you're still crying over your ex who ghosted you after brunch. Grow up. This place saw real battles. And now, let's talk about the 7 Rila lakes. 7 glacial, turquoise, heart-wrenchingly beautiful pools of water, tucked away in Bulgaria's mountains like the earth got emotional and decided to cry art. Legend says they were formed from the tears of a mourning giantess. And honestly, that checks out. Because when you see them, your brain stops making words and starts whispering, oh, this is what peace feels like. But instead of soaking that in, some of you would rather be airdropping thirst traps from the edge of the cliff. Like, hey everyone, here's me, ruining nature for likes. Newsflash, enlightenment isn't earned through scenic drone footage and matching yoga sets. It's earned by shutting up, feeling small, and letting places like this punch your ego straight in the teeth. Because Bulgaria doesn't coddle your need for validation. It doesn't care about your Instagram theme. It shows you ruins that outlived empires and lakes formed from grief, and basically says, here, look, feel something real for once. So if you're tired of fake beaches, overpriced smoothies, and wellness retreats that feel like multi-level marketing scams, maybe it's time to level up. Drop a 6 in the comments if you're ready to stop pretending you're spiritual and actually go somewhere that forces your soul to sit up straight. Or don't. Just know the next time you hashtag wanderlust from a hotel lobby, a Bulgarian monk is probably shaking his head from 1,100 years ago. Number 7. A war started by a dog. You ever look at history and think, wow, we've always been this dumb? No, seriously. Forget nukes and AI for a second. We started a war because of a dog. And not in some fairy tale village or ancient myth. This was 1925. Black and white photo era. Newspapers, diplomats, real governments still managed to screw it up. Let me paint the masterpiece of idiocy for you. A Greek soldier, just your regular guy, not a general, not a spy, starts chasing his dog. The dog bolts across the Bulgarian border. The soldier follows. Bulgarian guard sees a foreign soldier charging across, assumes the worst, pulls the trigger. Boom. Now, normal reaction? Grieve. Investigate. Write a very stern letter. Greece's reaction? Pack your bags, boys. We're invading Bulgaria. I'm not joking. 20,000 Greek troops march into Bulgaria over one soldier chasing one runaway dog. This wasn't even a German shepherd with clearance codes. It was just a dog doing what dogs do best, ignoring humans and causing absolute chaos. Bulgaria, with half the troops, said, okay, cool, but how about we not turn this into World War dog? So they went to the League of Nations like the exhausted parent in a school fight. And what did the League do? They slapped Greece with a bill, £45,000 in damages. In today's money, that's over $4 million. $4 million. For a single dog incident. Meanwhile, your landlord's raising your rent because the hallway light got replaced. That's the real punchline. Let's just acknowledge something right now. This isn't about the dog. It never was. It's about how quickly humans lose their grip on common sense when ego enters the room. Because a soldier stepping across a line? That's a mistake. But invading an entire country because of it? That's pride wearing a stupid hat. And this isn't ancient history, it's a mirror. Think about how people today throw friendship-ending tantrums because someone unfollowed them. We're not evolved. We're just using faster Wi-Fi to start dumber wars. Honestly, the dog was probably the smartest one in the story. It saw two countries with inflated egos and thought, yeah, I'm out. Smart dog. Dumb humans. So here's your takeaway. When someone crosses your line, don't send in the troops. Maybe ask, are they chasing something important, or just chasing a dog? Because reacting with rage doesn't make you strong. It just makes you historical, in the most embarrassing way possible. Now here's the kicker, if you had to pay $4 million every time you overreacted, you'd be bankrupt by lunchtime. But countries? They just call it foreign policy. Drop a 7 in the comments if you've ever gone full Greece over something stupid. Be honest. We've all had our dog chasing moment. But some of us at least didn't start a war over it. Number 8. A village unplugged from reality. You ever feel like life is just one endless loop of charging your phone, dodging notifications, pretending your job matters, and then crying into a microwave meal at midnight? Yeah. Welcome to the simulation. We're all in it, whether we admit it or not. But guess who broke out? A tiny Bulgarian village called Odrinci. Population? Used to be 2. That's not a typo. 2. As in, fewer people than fingers on a peace sign. No electricity. No internet. No influencers pretending dirt roads are aesthetic. Just silence. Uninterrupted, soul-scraping silence. Now here's the twist. A bunch of German expats moved in and chose this life. Bought literal ruins. Crumbling stone walls. Turned them into homes. Not airbnbs. Homes. One of them? Jürgen Hum. Former IBM consultant. Translation: he once got paid 6 figures to fix the stuff you curse at when your laptop freezes. Now, he herds goats. Lives in Odrinci. And you know what? I'd bet money he's happier than 90% of the people doom-scrolling Instagram on the toilet. Let that sting for a second. Here's the part no one tells you. Comfort is killing us. We're not tired, we're numb. You think you're burnt out because of work? No. You're burnt out because you haven't gone a full hour without a screen in 6 years. You've been tricked into thinking rest equals laziness and success means never stopping. Meanwhile, there's a village out there with 14 adults and 5 kids who wake up to birds instead of deadlines. They farm. They meditate. They don't argue on Reddit threads about pineapple on pizza. You know what they don't do? Pretend grinding is a personality trait. You ever wonder why people who leave everything behind end up looking younger? It's because they're not carrying emotional debt like it's their student loans. In Odrinci, the only thing people check is the weather. And maybe their goat's mood. Meanwhile, you're panicking because your Wi-Fi dropped for 5 seconds and now you're disconnected from the world. No, Karen. You're disconnected from yourself. Here's the part where you're supposed to ask, could I do that? Just unplug. No. Let's be real. You'd last 24 hours and then cry because your latte art looks sad. But maybe, just maybe, you don't need to move to a goat village. Maybe you just need to stop pretending that chaos equals achievement. Because you're not winning. You're coping, loudly, publicly, and with a ring light. The people of Odrinci? They chose discomfort, and found peace. You chose convenience, and can't even fall asleep without a podcast whispering productivity tips. So ask yourself, are you really living, or just buffering? Drop an 8 in the comments if you fantasized about throwing your phone into a river and starting over. Go ahead. You're not alone. You're just stuck in a system that calls burnout a badge of honor. But you don't have to stay there. Odrinci didn't just unplug. It woke up. Maybe it's time you did too. Number 9. Sports legends that shook the world. Let's get one thing straight, you don't know greatness. No, seriously. You think you do because your cousin Steve won a local pickleball tournament and posted it with a Drake quote. Cute. But actual, raw, melt-your-face-off greatness? Most people couldn't spot it if it punched them in the neck with a gold medal. Let me introduce you to a few real legends, and not the kind with a sponsorship deal and a selfie stick. I'm talking about people who didn't play the game. They rewrote it. Dan Kalov. Remember that name. Wrestler. Bulgarian. 1,500 matches. Only 3 losses. That's not a career, that's a warning label. If Dan Kalov walked into a ring, the other guy didn't warm up. He called his mom to say goodbye. Meanwhile, you're over here bragging about a 3-day streak on your fitness app like it's an Olympic event. And speaking of records that make your jaw hit the floor, Stefka Kostadinova. High jumper. World record from 1987. Still. Not. Broken. That's right, in a world with carbon fiber shoes, AI coaching, and people injecting smoothies directly into their bloodstream, no one has topped her. And don't give me that sports evolve nonsense. If evolution's so advanced, why are you still gasping after 2 flights of stairs? Now enter your Danka Donkova, the sprinter who didn't just beat records. She bullied them. 5-time world record breaker. Not once. Not twice. 5. If confidence had a heartbeat, it would sound like her feet hitting the track. And then, Stoikov. Don't act like you know football if you don't know Risto freaking Stoikov. The man took Bulgaria, to the 1994 World Cup semi-finals. You realize how insane that is? That's like taking a garage band to headline Coachella. He won the Ballon d'Or. Played for Barcelona. The guy didn't just walk on the field, he marched in like he owned it, because for 90 minutes he did. But what do we glorify now? Influencers who get winded doing TikTok dances and call it content. Athletes who fake injuries like it's theater. A generation that thinks lifting a protein shake counts as strength training. No one's saying you need to be Stoikov, but maybe stop acting like running a 5K makes you a philosopher warrior. These Bulgarian legends didn't just perform. They endured. They didn't beg for clout. They demanded respect. So yeah, if you ever feel like the world forgot what grit looks like, just remember, Bulgaria didn't. And it slapped the planet awake with a high jump, a knockout, a sprint, and a semi-final flag wave. Now here's your homework. Comment 9, if you've ever wondered why true legends get forgotten while mediocrity gets merch deals. Let's talk about it. Or better yet, train like it. Number 10. The world's best yogurt. You've been lied to. No, not by your ex, although yeah, probably. I mean by marketing, by Instagram health gurus, and every overpriced grocery aisle screaming about Greek yogurt like it's divine dairy sent from Zeus himself. Newsflash, Greek yogurt is just yogurt with good PR. The real MVP. Bulgaria. Ever heard of Lactobacillus bulgaricus? No? Of course not, you were too busy pretending oat milk makes you edgy. Let me break it down. This microscopic hero is only found in Bulgaria. It's the reason their yogurt doesn't taste like sadness and spoonfuls of regret. It's rich, tangy, creamy. It's the yogurt equivalent of someone slapping your taste buds awake and reminding them they still have purpose. And while you're busy choking down store-brand sludge labeled probiotic, Bulgarians are over here aging like fine wine, thanks to the good bacteria in their morning cup of actual yogurt. But no, you went with the one labeled plant-based vanilla delight, which sounds less like food and more like a scented candle. But hey, if dairy gives you the existential dread, let's pivot to something shiny. Gold. Not the TikTok kind. Not the live laugh love necklace you got on sale. I'm talking the oldest gold artifacts known to mankind, found not in Egypt, not in Rome, but in, wait for it, Bulgaria. Yeah. In 1972, Bulgaria casually dug up a 7,000-year-old treasure chest of over 3,000 golden pieces weighing 6 freaking kilos. Jewelry. Ritual items. Burial goods. You know, normal stuff you leave behind when your civilization was already flexing before the pyramids even had blueprints. That's right. Before your ancestors figured out how to stop drawing on cave walls, Bulgarians were inventing the first elite class, and they weren't doing it with social media likes or subscription boxes. They did it with gold. And what did we do with this knowledge? Absolutely nothing. We kept teaching kids the same 5 European facts on loop like a broken record: Renaissance, Industrial Revolution, French toast. Meanwhile, Bulgaria's just chillin' with ancient royalty receipts and bacteria that makes your gut smarter than half your dating choices. But sure, go ahead, keep worshipping Greek yogurt and believing history started in Western Europe. Keep buying into whatever social media sells you. Because that's what we do, right? We ignore the real gems and chase the ones that sparkle the loudest. So now, ask yourself, why haven't you heard this before? Why aren't Bulgaria's yogurt and gold in every damn textbook, talk show, and travel guide? Because the world's too busy clapping for the loudest voice, not the wisest one. Comment 10 if you're done settling for knockoffs, whether it's in food, facts, or people. Bulgaria's been here being elite, while the rest of us just caught on. Now go get a spoon. Or a shovel. Either way, it's time to dig deeper. Number 11. The Eyes of God. Let's be real, most of what we call mysterious these days is just bad lighting and a TikTok filter. You walk into a crystal shop, someone smudges sage over your debit card, and suddenly you're aligned with ancient energies. Please. You want real mystery? Stand in Prohodna Cave in northern Bulgaria, and look up. 2 perfectly symmetrical holes stare down from the ceiling, and no, it's not your landlord spying on your rent money. Locals call them the Eyes of God, because when sunlight pours through them, it feels divine. But when the moon hits just right, it's not comfort. It's judgment. It's cosmic side-eye from something older than your therapist's trauma chart. And here's the thing nobody tells you, you'll feel it. You'll feel like someone, or something, is looking back. Not at you. Through you. Straight into all the stuff you've been pretending isn't there. Like the fake smiles. The ghosted texts. The career you're not proud of, but too tired to change. That voice in your head that says, is this it? Yeah. The cave sees that. And we call it spiritual now, but back then? Ancient people held rituals here. Real ones. Not vision boards and moon water. I'm talking about firelit ceremonies, chants that echoed through time, and offerings to whatever higher power scared them straight. Because Prohodna isn't pretty. It's not supposed to be. It's raw. Just like life when you stop curating it for clout. Now here's the part that gets wild. Science has no clear explanation for how those eye-shaped holes formed so perfectly. Erosion? Maybe. Divine geometry? Who knows? But 2 identical ovals on a ceiling 45 feet high, in a chamber carved by nature like some ancient movie set? That's not just a lucky coincidence. That's a metaphor with dirt under its nails. You know how people say, the universe is always watching? In Bulgaria, it is. With actual eyes in a cave. And no, you don't need to be a backpacker on a soul quest or someone who drinks turmeric lattes to appreciate this. You just need a working sense of awe, and maybe a break from pretending your problems can be solved by refreshing your inbox. The eyes of God don't blink. They don't look away. They remind you that the world isn't about your notifications. It's about the stuff that outlives you. The energy you can't Instagram. The presence you feel when all your coping mechanisms shut up for 5 seconds. So go ahead, keep calling yourself spiritual, because you own a Himalayan salt lamp. But when you're ready to feel something ancient judge your life choices silently and without mercy, Prohodna's waiting. And here's the question that'll keep you up tonight. What do those eyes see when they look at you? Comment 11 if you've ever felt seen by something that didn't need a face to call you out. Because sometimes, the scariest mirror is a cave ceiling that knows you're lying to yourself. Number 12. Baba Vanga, the blind prophet. Let's just say it, we live in a world where people believe more in a TikTok tarot reader with neon nails than in Baba Vanga, a blind Bulgarian woman who somehow predicted actual world disasters with frightening precision. Yeah. While you're out here asking ChatGPT about your soulmate, Baba Vanga was out here calling 9/11, the Kursk submarine disaster, and Ebola, decades before they happened. But sure. Keep rolling your eyes. You believe in horoscopes written by interns, but not in a woman who went blind at 12 after being sucked into a literal tornado and came back seeing the damn future. Make it make sense. Oh, and let's talk about those Soviet leaders. You think they rolled up on Baba Vanga's doorstep for fun? For clout? No, these dudes ran a nuclear empire and still needed to know what a blind mystic from a Bulgarian village had to say. Why? Because she had receipts. Predictions that kept landing like punches to the jaw. She wasn't doing vague "you will meet someone with a letter M" nonsense. She was dropping century-spanning intel. Into the 31st century. That's 1,000 years into the future. Meanwhile, most people today can't plan past Friday night. And here's the part that burns. You've probably quoted some recycled Pinterest wisdom like the universe has a plan. Well, guess what? Baba saw the damn plan. And it wasn't a vision board and crystals. It was messy, chaotic, real. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, not everything she said came true. Oh really? Like that time your uncle said Bitcoin was a scam and now you're pretending your Robinhood account doesn't exist? She wasn't perfect, but she was terrifyingly close. And if you think she's just folklore for old people with too many cats, ask yourself, why do her predictions still go viral every New Year's Eve? Because deep down, we all want to believe someone saw through the fog. That someone, even one person, understood the madness we're trapped in. She didn't wear robes. She didn't chant. She didn't ask for money. She just spoke, in short, blunt prophecies, and shook the world. Her silence today, still louder than half the influencers screaming into your feed. And you know what's wild? Her name lives on, not because she wanted fame, but because truth has a way of surviving even when people don't believe it. So here's the brutal part. While most of us can't predict if we'll even get out of bed tomorrow, Baba Vanga mapped out centuries. And we're still catching up. If she were alive today, she wouldn't be on Instagram. She'd be sitting quietly in a chair somewhere, sipping tea, whispering prophecies that would make world leaders sweat through their suits. Comment 12 if you're done pretending the future is unknowable, and start wondering if someone already told us. We just weren't ready to hear it. Number 13. Dishes that speak a language of their own. Let me get this off my chest. Some of y'all are out here calling cereal dinner, and microwaving frozen burritos like it's an art form. And you've got the audacity to ignore Bulgarian food? I mean it, you'll wait 2 hours for $18 avocado toast. But roll your eyes at Tarator? A cold yogurt cucumber soup so refreshing it slaps the heat wave out of your face. It's basically air conditioning in a bowl. But no, you're too busy sipping lukewarm overpriced matcha from a paper straw that folds in on itself like your last relationship. And then there's banitsa. Oh boy, banitsa. Layers of flaky pastry, eggs and cheese, and during New Year's, it hides a coin. A literal coin. Because Bulgarians said, why just eat carbs when you can bake your future inside it? Meanwhile, your idea of festive food is candy corn and disappointment. You ever eaten something so simple, yet so emotional, it feels like a childhood you never had? That's banitsa. It tastes like waking up in grandma's kitchen if your grandma actually liked you. But go ahead, keep hyping pumpkin spice like it's the holy grail. Then there's the shopska salad, fresh tomatoes, cucumbers, onions, peppers, topped with crumbly white cheese and sunflower oil. No ranch, no gimmicks, no half-wilted lettuce pretending to be a salad. This is the real MVP of summer. It's so fresh, if you drop it on the ground, the dirt says thank you. But I know how some of y'all eat. You think a Caesar salad with a gallon of dressing is healthy. You think kale chips are a food group. Let's be honest, your clean eating tastes like punishment. Bulgarian dishes? They taste like someone actually wanted you to be happy. Imagine that. And before you go all, well, it's just simple food. Yeah. And that's the genius. Number 47. Step sauce reductions. No foam. No truffle dust. Just bold flavors and tradition that speaks louder than your latest food trend. These aren't just meals, they're conversations. Tarator whispers, you survived another summer. Banitsa yells, may your year be lucky, fat, and filled with cheese. And Shopska? It just smirks and says, you don't need to try so hard, darling. It's time to stop pretending your snack packs count as culture. Get on a plane, or at least a recipe blog, and taste something that actually gives a damn about you. Because while you're out here eating gluten-free air, Bulgarians are passing down edible heirlooms. Comment 13 if you're tired of tasteless trends and ready for food that actually means something. And if you've had banitsa, drop a fire emoji, and tell me you didn't cry just a little. Be honest. Number 14. Festivals that dance with fire. Let's be real, half of you haven't felt alive in years. You scroll TikTok for dopamine hits, call it a break, and wonder why every Monday feels like the sequel to a movie you never wanted to watch in the first place. Your idea of celebration? Ordering DoorDash without checking your bank account. Wild. But here's a hot take, maybe you're not burned out. Maybe you're just bored. Chronically, painfully, soul-suckingly bored. You've mistaken comfort for happiness. And in that comfy little life cocoon, you forgot how to live loud. Now buckle up, because Bulgaria didn't. Enter Lazarovane. Imagine this, girls dressed in traditional white, wearing flower crowns that put your Coachella attempts to shame, dancing through villages to bless homes with fertility and fortune. No filters. No likes. Just raw ritual. It's not a performance, it's a rite of passage. Something sacred, spiritual, and, yeah, a little bit wild. Meanwhile, you went to brunch last weekend and called it a spiritual reset. But wait, Maybe you're not into subtle beauty and tradition. Maybe you need chaos. Madness. The kind of joy that doesn't just knock, but kicks your door in and throws glitter at your face. That's the Gabrovo Carnival. Now this isn't your sad little town parade with 2 floats and a fire truck. This is Bulgaria's unhinged answer to Mardi Gras, complete with outrageous costumes, giant cat sculptures, yes cats, satirical floats, and an unspoken national law, just have fun. Shocking, right? A country with a mandate to enjoy itself. No what will people think. No do I look stupid? Just full sprint chaos in the name of joy. The kind of joy you used to feel before adulting choked the sparkle out of your spirit. You ever wonder why your childhood felt more magical? It's because back then, everything was a festival. Every birthday. Every snow day. Every bad haircut. And now? You sit through New Year's Eve like it's a business meeting. The truth is, we don't need more productivity hacks. We need a damn Gabrovo Carnival for the soul. Because what these festivals get right, and what most of us have forgotten, is that celebration isn't a reward. It's a necessity. It's how humans say, we're still here. Still weird. Still dancing in the face of death, bills, and political circus acts. It's a release valve for a pressure cooker world. So maybe it's time we stop chasing happiness, like it's an app you can download, and start chasing experiences that freaking matter. Like blessing homes with flower girls instead of sage. Like dancing through your own damn burnout instead of journaling about it. Like letting yourself look ridiculous, and realizing that that's when you finally felt real again. Drop a 14 in the comments if you're ready to trade soul-sucking routines for something that feels like fire again. And if you've ever worn a flower crown and actually meant it, tell me, what were you blessing that day? Let's talk about what it means to really feel alive. Because Bulgaria? They never forgot. Maybe it's time we remembered. Number 15. A budget-friendly life in paradise. Let me guess. You're tired. Not I need a nap tired, I mean spiritually bankrupt, emotionally overdraft, and one rent hike away from moving into your mom's basement with a motivational poster that says, just breathe. You're grinding 9 to 5 just to afford avocado toast, rent that eats 70% of your paycheck, and a gym membership you pretend you'll use once you stop being so busy. Spoiler, you won't. And yet, you still cling to this fantasy that living in Europe is for rich retirees or Instagram models who somehow earn 6 figures by posing next to fruit markets in Santorini. But here's the slap-you-awake truth. You could live in Bulgaria, Europe's best-kept budget secret, for less than what you blow on gas, fast food, and therapy trying to survive your current lifestyle. Let's do the math, shall we? $350 to $600 for a 1-bedroom apartment in a major city. Yes, a real apartment. Not a shoebox with 4 roommates and questionable plumbing. Want countryside vibes with air clean enough to actually breathe? Try $180 a month. That's not a typo, that's your entire rent, not your electric bill. Meals? $4. And we're talking actual food, no sad microwaved noodles. We're talking real tomatoes. Cheeses that don't taste like regret. Transportation? $30 a month. Which is roughly what you spend on one Uber ride during a treat-yourself night that ends in crying. Gym membership? $25. And it doesn't even smell like a locker room full of broken dreams. Let me put it another way. You're living paycheck to paycheck in a city that doesn't even like you. Bulgaria? Bulgaria would kiss you on the forehead and hand you a glass of homemade rakia just for showing up. But it can't be that cheap. No, Karen. It can. You're just used to a system that makes you feel like survival is a luxury and burnout is a personality trait. You ever wonder why every wellness influencer moves to Bali or Portugal? Because living in the US or UK on a budget is like trying to eat soup with a fork. It's messy, pointless, and you end up starving. Now here's the kicker. You could live in Bulgaria, in Europe with mountains, beaches, Wi-Fi, espresso, and real culture, for $700 to $1,400 a month. Total. All in. While your cousin just dropped that on a wedding gift and a plane ticket to attend someone else's big life decision. Look, I'm not saying pack your bags today. I'm saying you owe it to yourself to stop settling for survival when there's a whole other lifestyle where you can actually live. Comment 15 if your rent makes you cry at night. And tell me, if your bills didn't own you, where would you wake up tomorrow? Because if Bulgaria isn't on your radar, congratulations, you've been scammed by capitalism with bad weather. And I'm just the brutally honest mirror holding up the truth you already knew, but needed to hear loudly. You just saw Bulgaria. Not the brochure version, not the postcard nonsense. The raw, unfiltered, mind-bending truth. And yet, some of you are still going to scroll away and go back to your overpriced coffee, overpriced rent, and overpriced excuses. Why? Because it's easier to keep complaining than it is to get curious. Bulgaria is the wake-up slap you didn't know you needed. It's Europe without the ego. It's paradise without the premium. But hey, maybe you'd rather keep living where you're comfortable, which is just code for quietly miserable. So here's the dare. Look again. Rethink what's possible. And before you dip, like, subscribe, and comment your favorite Bulgarian fact, unless you're scared to admit it's better than your hometown. Do your research. Or don't. But don't say no one told you the truth. I just did. Loudly.